Hi there, back again. Okay, I hope this is the final round I'll be doing on this courier service. But in this round I won't be able to test. So in the next round I will test the courier service alongside with the like the authentication, since we are using the courier service in the authentication. But for now, let's just try to set it to complete it. And I think what we need to complete this is to implement this created stuff. But then to implement it, I have to kind of set up the model. So first of all, we are going to have. So I'm going to bring this here. I did that because I want to watch what I set here, because that's basically what we will be having. So first of all, I just need like a tool. So email, then subjects. Okay, actually I don't really care about what this is. It might not be an email sometimes. So for this one, I am going to set like a max length, and I think 255 should be fine. I think so. What can you create with 255 characters? Yeah, that's fine. Then let me increase it to 512 just in case. Then we have like the templates, so which should be an object. So for this object, we expect to get like an ID and then data. So for the data, I set like an empty object but add additional property as true. That means basically expect anything. That's what this means. Another way to rewrite this is you can rewrite this as a record, and for this record you can specify the key, and then so you can specify the key as type string for the key, and then specify any as this. So it's going to basically fit in with what you have here, string any. And finally, you have attachments, which for the attachments they'll be optional. And in this case, we'll be having. So here we can kind of enforce that we just want file name, which will be optional, and we can set like a max to be 256, and I think I go with 255. In fact, I won't like file name that exceeds 128. So, and here we can have we can either have contents, which will be optional, I want to just follow this stuff. I want to see if there's anything called binary. Okay, there isn't. So for the content, it's going to be any, in fact unknown. I really don't care what the content is. Or you can have parts, so which is going to be a URI or URL particularly. So yeah, we have this. So it's interesting, right? So now now that we have this, when we get to the pick parts, we want to pick it. We really don't need to do anything exactly. So if we do an empty stuff here, it means we are not picking anything. So what we can do instead is to omit, and for the omit part, what we just want to do is to omit the ID. So we omit the ID, meaning that we don't want an ID to be sent to us during any of this. In fact, we don't need an ID, to be candid with you. We don't exactly need an ID. We could remove this, but what if in the future we do need an ID? So, in fact, let's remove it, right? Because we don't need it. So I can say omit and then basically not specify anything. So if I do this, that should still give me these guys. What next? For patching, we've not actually come into conclusion what patching is going to look like, and I doubt to be needing any of these things. So let me just, for the meantime, keep this empty. Or let me just put two subjects. Those are the easiest stuff to use. So boom, just to remove any error that we'll be getting. So yeah, this is where we go. Then I can come back here now. I should be able to see lots of reds. And for the most part, I don't need gets. What am I exactly getting? I might need find, and it's almost useless. I just want to use it to kind of maybe return back the jobs that are running and stuff like that, because we are not doing anything database, so we don't need it. We use create to actually send email, then updates. We don't need these two. Same way we don't need patch and remove. So we need to do stuff with this one. So yeah, I'm just going to set up like a try catch. The most times we really don't care about catching stuff, but you can just throw the error as you want, in as much as the type of error you want to throw, and Fedas will undo that part because it's part of the service. So I can instead just do this instead. So now I have my carrier data to have this stuff, right? So meaning that the job data and the carrier data basically do the same thing. So I can even make this one extend the carrier data, and once it extends it, I can just set what I want the attachment to look like. Let me see if that works. Yeah, the attachments are incompatible. In that case, I can put this off completely. So meaning anywhere I use this, I will just have to switch to oops. Okay, let me still just reuse it. So yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can still use this without. Yeah, so basically just define custom this so that we'll not run into error here. So I think we should be fine this way. Let's see. So if attachment was complaining, let's see what is it that attachment is complaining about. Content paths finding, which is the things we are passing. Is it because the other things did not know? I think I'll remove this. Then I'm going to search for anything using career job data, and we are going to switch that to career data. So it's complaining about this, which I'm just going to fix by going back here and switching from unknown to any. So that should fix it. So now we go. So I can come down here and just continue. So in this case, what do I want to do? I'll just say, okay, job should be equals to await this queue add event. So I want to add an event, so I kind of need I want to add a job. I want to add a new job to the queue, so I have to give a name for the job. So in this case, I could say, let's see, what am I writing? I could say, let's see. Let's see, subjects, like, okay, the subject of the job. Then and the rest. So for the subject, I'm going to do something interesting, which is this. I'm going to install npm install what's the name? Slugify. So once that's done installing, I also need to install the type. Oh, seems it doesn't have type. My bad. So I can import Slugify here. So once I import Slugify, I can come down here and then Slugify the subject, passing some, let me just call it job name. I want it to be lower, and what else? Trim it in case. So then plus set this to 16, just in case somebody same subject name appears twice. So that way we'll be able to kind of track, okay, this is the action, this is who this is what this job is meant to do, right? From the job, the job, the name of the job. So in this case, we can add like the job name, and then just add the rest of the stuff this way. It's actually weird because I could have just taken, in fact, I could just remove this and instead put, this is the same thing, so could just do data back because I don't know, that looks unnecessary. So there we had it, the job and then the data associated to the job. Another thing we can do is to also provide some types, like, okay, the attempts, how many times should the job be attempted. We added something similar here, like the default job options, but then you can still see this, then the duplication, delay, fail parent on failure, that is if this job fails, should it fail the parent, ignore dependency on failure, job ID, we can set that to the job name if we want to. So yeah, we can do stuff like this too. Now when we are done with this, we would want to kind of return let's see, we want to kind of return information about the job, but not the job data, because the job data is basically what we just sent in. So if you want to return information about the job, we can return the ID, we can also return the status, and we can call that job status, which obviously doesn't exist. So what else can we extract from here? The only thing similar to that is this one. So which gets the current state, returns one of the following values. It's a promise. Good. So I can do await on this one. So to get the state, another thing I want to return is maybe we want to return the data, right? Let me see, do we want to return the data? Maybe, let's see. So but there's a problem with this. Apparently we cannot do this because we are currently saying that this is what we want carrier to return. So what we can do instead is to kind of expose a sort of type. We'll call it carrier response. So for this carrier response, basically what we'll be having is carrier. We'll be having, I can make it an interface actually. So we'll be having the ID, this, and the data. So I can come down here and then we set that, right? So the next thing we can do So another thing we can do is to change carrier here to carrier response. Or to fix this scenario, we can still use carrier. We can also still leave this like that, but then we can just add id string and then add status string, but then this would not show up when we are creating, so we can omit it. id and status. So every other thing still remains the same, just like the id and status that stays. Then when we are patching, actually we don't need this patching stuff, so I'm coming to destroy the guy later. But for now, so we can have this, and I think that should work. Oh, yeah, we can always enforce that this guy will always exist since we've set him here. And here we can just go back to using this guy. So now this works, right? We've been able to create this guy. So next thing we want to do is to enable like the ability to kind of find stuff. Even Copilot was confused, like, hey, what are you saying? So yeah, we can get the jobs from the queue, the waiting. We have to specify which jobs we are looking at this time. So we use like the waiting. So one thing we can do here is that we can use the query params to enforce what kind of stuff we want to get here. So for example, if we have this query param that's this query that says, okay, maybe you want to query to or subject. So another thing we can do in this case to add something called status. And for this status, we'll be looking at pending, completed, and failed, something like this. So we'll be looking at this. Actually, this guy comes with the ability to set stuff like this. Kind of weird, because somehow I do prefer using union and then setting literals. So I prefer this. So this is what I prefer actually. So I have this day, so I will know that at least status is always going to be pending, completed, and failed. So if I come down here, another thing is to make it optional. So that's another thing. So if I come back here, I can get the status from the query param. So the status can be pending, completed, failed, or undefined. So we can actually support sending like status in form of like multiple forms, if that makes sense. But then no. So what we'll do instead is set the job up this way. So another thing is pending is supposed to be the same thing as, so okay. So I'm going to do something like this. So we get status. So here we go. So we've been able to get the jobs, right? Then the next thing we can do is to return all these basically, so that way we kind of so that way we can actually find we can find stuff, right? So another thing we can even do is, first of all, we can set the type. Then we have these stats, like where to start getting the job from, for the purpose of which we can actually use for pagination if we want to, and whether we want to get in ascending and descending order. So if we want to kind of extend this by maybe setting up like a proper query where we can paginate the jobs that we get back, then we can do. But this is already overkill because actually this is not useful most times, except just few times you want to use it. So, but most times it's not really useful. So, but yeah, this is it. We get this back. So now we have this our courier. We have this our courier service, and we can simply go into the resolver here, where we put a to do. Right here, we can say. So first of all, I need to be sure that everything works as expected. Okay, in this class, there's a problem down here. We have something that should return. That should return a courier service options. So right here. So right here we can do this. So we can actually do this. Then we can set template directory. Actually, we did not set anything for that. I doubt we did. Let me see. Yeah, we didn't. So in this case, we can actually set it directly here. So we can just do parts dot join, and for this we can do resolve. So that's parts dot resolve, and then I'm just going to say I think there's a problem. I probably imported something, but that's much. Oh. So we can go out of year 1, 2, 1, 2, templates will now be here. Makes sense. Though I feel like I think I'll kind of prefer accessing templates from the public folder. I think this works. Though I really would like to see what this outputs. So let me console log it. Cool. So in fact I could make it look like a normal proper uh, info stuff where I can say so. Here we go. So yeah, we don't have those methods anymore, so it's going to complain because obviously no hook for that. Here too is also going to complain about it, so we need to pull it off. We don't have those existing anymore. I think we are game. So with that, that ends like this episode. Sorry, these episodes are getting longer, but that's it. So here we go. I can just push this. I have the service and the test. I think in a future episode we'll focus a lot on testing. For now, I really don't care. So yeah, there we go. So let me add that. I like this one. I like to put fit here. Updated configurations and added courier service for sending emails. We shouldn't have pushed yet because we still have one place where we have work left, which is the resolver. Just right here we need to kind of no, we're not awaiting anything, so actually we need to await. So context.app.service, then we have the courier guy. Yeah, courier guy. So then we can just create and we can send this, just that there's one problem. This is incorrect. So yeah, this is the templates and the data. So we are not exactly done because we still have something left, which is this. We need to create these templates and the CSS. Oh god, that's one thing I hate about templating. I need to do some research on maybe how to set up, how to kind of use Tailwind for my templates, so that I don't have to write CSS, since most times I don't really care about how the template looks or whether it's beautiful or not. It doesn't matter to me. That's even why I didn't choose undo at this time, because I don't care. Okay, so that's it, and we've just practically connected this. So we've added, like, send this thing to an image queue, and then we can send return back the pass. So meaning that, but the bad thing here is that the downside here is that this gets sent to the user's email even before the account is created. So if there's an error before the account is created, then we have a problem. So that's one thing you should note. We can rectify this in other ways, but I think this should be okay for now. Integrated Eukarya service really generates pass result. So, with that, we call it the end of another episode. See you in the next one. I think so far now we are kind of getting close to completing, like, so the okay. See you in the next one. Sorry.